Namaste, beautiful souls. It's Dr. Danny. Welcome back to my channel. Oh, I am so happy and grateful to be here with all of you. I hope you guys are having a magical day and living your best lives. I'm a little tired today. I've had quite a week of working. The babies just will not stop coming. It's amazing. And I've had a few breakthroughs this week. I've been going through some very intense internal shifts, letting go of some old habits, letting go of some old patterns, and really just trying to become, just the process of becoming. So yeah, I'm really excited about today. Happy 7/13, July 13th, which is also 137, which is our favorite number, the fine structure constant. And we happen to start the podcast right at 1:37 p.m., at least local time for me. So we're going to talk about this a little bit. We're going to review this number, why it's so important. And then we're going to look at today's date, some of the astrology going on in the sky. And then I want to take you through a very special presentation on medical astrology about the astrological body types. It's called astrophysiognomy. And the resource I'm using is from Judith Hill, and she has her own medical astrology academy. And she's one of the few tropical astrologers that I follow. She's incredibly smart. She's done over 5,000 analyses of body types in astrology, and her work is amazing. So I will be reviewing that material with you for the better part of this presentation. And then at the end, stick around because I am going to offer you an activation. And this activation is pretty special because, well, actually, the whole podcast is an activation. The words that I'm saying to you are going to connect with you, each of you, in a very different and unique way. And an activation is simply, it's kind of like a meditation, but you don't have to go all into it. You don't have to like close your eyes and om or anything. It's basically a declaration, a statement to the universe to help us bring our dreams into reality. Okay. That's what we're all trying to do here. We all see a world that is so much better than what we are living in right now. And whatever version of the world that you see that is better will hopefully come through for you with this presentation and this activation. Judith Hill makes a very good statement in her work. She says that astrology, the stars and the planets, literally affect how we think and how we feel. And our body is a reflection of our thoughts and our feelings. It's our interaction, it's our interface with the environment in which we're in. So this should be a lot of fun. You guys, I'm sure, will be looking in the mirror at your face and your body after you listen to this presentation. That's precisely what I did after I read this book. And I think what you'll find is that you're probably a mixture of some of all of the body types, but predominantly one type. So it should be pretty interesting. All right. I don't expect a whole lot of people on this Sunday afternoon. The world is crazy right now. If your lives are anything like mine, you're all probably very busy. So those of you that are here, I am so grateful and so blessed that you're here. So let's see, who do we have? We have of course, Lori from Washington. Look up Astrology. Lori, thank you so much for supporting me and coming to every single live stream and throwing those links up there. I really appreciate you. And then, of course, Ultimus Hastings is here, keeping you guys in check, although I haven't had a problem with any of you, really. The comments that you all give me really warm my heart and make me smile. So keep them coming, guys. I really appreciate you. Let's see, who else do we have? We have Sprout Queen is here and Christine is here. Christine Yan. Hello, my dear. All right. Very good. Well, how have you guys been doing the last couple of weeks? I know for me, it's been pretty wild. That full moon was pretty intense. I didn't expect it to be intense for me, but man, it was. And that's hence all the reason for all these internal changes. It all pretty much started with the retrogrades, and we are neck deep in retrogrades right now, are we not? We had Neptune go retrograde on the 4th. We had Saturn go retrograde yesterday, and today Mercury stations, or no, on the 17th, Mercury stations retrograde. So we are definitely at the beginning of retrograde season picking on up. I am not too worried about Mercury retrograde. I tend to do pretty well with Mercury retrograde. It's one of those planets where if you're really in touch with your thoughts and you make sure that the quality of your thoughts are high and for the good of all and for your best intent, then you should receive. You should be able to manifest pretty quickly. The problem comes when you're not listening internally and you're trying to listen externally. It gets so loud and so muffled and so confusing, and so you lose your keys and you forget where you were going and you stop listening to people and all of that. So. All right, I guess wild is the word, says look up. Oh, and then the scrolling here at the bottom is just a reminder to myself and you guys. I just started an X account. So if you have X and you're not following me, please do. I do post over there, and I'm actually attempting to go live over there. I'm not sure if it's working out, but we'll see what happens once the live stream's over. So, all right, let's see here. Let me stop that from scrolling. And then we will get into the presentation. Christine Yan is preparing to put your home on the market. Ooh, that's a big change. Wow. That's no small feat. Well, I am sending you speedy sale and for the price or more that you are asking for. And I hope that happens. All right, let's see. So I'm going to put down that, and then we're going to share. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you the sky, and then we will jump right into the presentation because the astrology section is first. So for those of you that are not interested in decodes or the body types presentation, you can just listen to the astrology part and then be on your way. But I recommend you stick around because the decoding helps anchor the astrology, and then the presentation on the body types helps us to focus on our physical embodiment, and then the activation at the end will tie it all together. So this should be really, really good for you. We might go for a little while. I'm not sure how long this is going to be, but I do appreciate y'all being here. All right, let's go ahead and share the screen. I'll hide that. And we are going to look at today at 1:37:33. And there it is, y'all. There's the moon right here at 0 degrees of Capricorn at this very moment in time. Let's see. Let's put the landscape in. Yep. And then we can also, if we go above the horizon, see that the sun is actually still in the stars of Gemini for just a few more days. I think the 16th or the 17th, the sun will enter into the constellation of Cancer. This was the constellation that actually quote unquote red pilled me for constellational astrology. It was my birthday, and I took the night sky app and I pointed it up to where the sun was, and I literally could not believe my eyes when the sun was not over here in Leo, but in fact it was in Cancer on August 4th. So that was just stunning. You could ask my husband. I literally went, "What? What? Why? It's broken. This app must be broken." So then it started my journey and my mission to explore the stars, and also to try and understand why we're so disconnected from our sky. Like what is it? And surprisingly enough, I've met quite a bit of opposition to this from other astrologers. It's almost as if they don't seem to want to look up, or they just don't understand that the sky is off a little bit. But then there are some of you, and those of you that have seen that and have understood, and are focused on the sky. And just let me know in the chat if you feel like your life is a lot different now that you actually focus on the real sky. I feel like mine is. I feel like things are aligning in ways that, and waking up in my soul and in my spirit, that had been asleep for a very long time, even though I considered myself quote unquote awake. But I think this was really where it's at. So we also have Jupiter in Gemini, so that's nice. And then Venus in Taurus. And one of the coolest things we're going to start seeing very soon, you guys, is in about 3 weeks, when you look to the eastern sky, we're going to see Sirius rising. So right around August 7th, August 8th, if you look to the east in the morning before the sun rises, you'll see star Sirius coming up. And this was a big deal for the ancient Egyptians. This marked the beginning of their year, their solar year, basically, because that's when the floods came. This was a very venerated time for them. The other thing that was so interesting about this time frame for them is that this was the time of their solstice. So that's why I love solstices, and because I can prove to you guys that the sky has shifted. When this alignment occurred back in ancient Egypt, it was the solstice, and now we're just a little bit after the solstice. So another interesting point to make about the sky. I'd like to shout out a friend on the Fellowship of 13 Signs. Brandy Cole sent this to me. The answer to life, the universe, and everything is 137. So we've heard, if any of you have seen the old, read the book, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the computer was asked for the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything, and it's 42. And the big joke is that they didn't actually ask the question correctly. But this article details all of these interesting energies around 137, and why, in fact, I follow it too. It just shows up everywhere. It's really quite a mystical number. So what I'm going to do is put this in the comments for you guys so you can go check it out. It's definitely worth your time. So, okay, paste and go. So check out that. And then, of course, follow me on X. I'm right here. Oh, look, it must be working. It says live. So cool. All right, here we go. Let's get into this presentation. So we are going to be talking about mostly your astrological body type, but I did want to discuss the astrology and also a little bit of numerology for you. Oops, so let's do this. All right. So this is the code for today. We're going to discuss the current transits. We're going to look at the number 137, 713. That's the date and time right now. Today's day numerologically is 194. So it's the 194th day of the year. That has some significance to what we're looking at. And then also we're going to look at the numerology of today. So if you put 7132025 together, you get the number 20. And that is tied into a lot of things. And then we'll talk about the body types, and I will do the live activation to close it up. So here we go. All right. And I'll be using the Phi Cipher. Shout out to Logan with Decode Your Reality for creating this website for free, decoded.co, where you can get hundreds of ciphers, anything that resonates with you. And it really doesn't matter which one you use. It helps. Whichever one you do use is your key to unlock. So you can unlock the room or the space from many different portals using many different keys. And I highly recommend that you see Logan's video from last night. He opened up a new cipher called the square root of 3, and it's absolutely fascinating. So do check out that video. And then, of course, for the cards and the tarot, you can go to cosmicsugar.org. All right, so this is our syllabus for today. Let's review the current transits. We just looked at the sky, so we have an idea of where everything is in the heavens. This is from Prometheus Capricorn, the software that I use to run my charts, to read for my clients, and to predict the stars for you guys. It's what generates all those beautiful charts that you see. And you can get this software at masteringthezodiac.com. And we have some pretty heavy hitters right now. This is probably the theme of the month. It's Saturn and Neptune conjunct, both retrograde now. And then Saturn and Neptune both sextile to Pluto and sextile to Uranus. So this creates this trine sextile pattern that seems to me like it's very supportive, as if the spiritual elders out there in the outer solar system are supporting us, are helping us to bring our dreams alive. Because Pluto trine to Uranus is surrendering to the transformation, right? It's metamorphic transformation. Uranus wants you to shine in your individual divinity and light, and Pluto wants to transform you and purify you from your authentic self. Basically, go through an ego death to come out pure and whole and true. So you have Uranus asking you to do it in your own unique and divine way. And then right in the middle of that is Saturn, the taskmaster, and Neptune, sort of like the groovy spiritual energy, all in Pisces. That's right. They're not in Aries right now. They're actually in the true sky in Pisces at 12 degrees. And they both just went retrograde, which can be a blessing, actually. I experience Saturn retrograde as a little bit of a release or a relief from the strenuous taskmaster type energy. Like, I don't feel like there's something looking over my shoulder and making me work anymore. Now, there can be a tendency when Saturn is in retrograde to sort of rest on your laurels, like you're climbing a mountain with a little plateau halfway up. When you get to that plateau, it's fine to sort of rest, take in the scenery, rehydrate, but then you should keep climbing. Because if you're not in the process of climbing, by the time Saturn comes back around direct again, then you will have to do extra work. So I highly recommend that you motivate yourself during Saturn retrograde, especially on the internal stuff, because with Neptune retrograde, the veil is lifted. You can literally see inside yourself. You can see inside of others. You can see what's been hidden before. And I feel like with the energy of these two planets going retrograde, a lot of things have been revealed since last weekend. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Let me know in the comments if you've noticed certain things, like people that you once trusted, you sort of see their ugly side. Things that you used to believe, you no longer believe in. Something that wasn't clear suddenly comes to light. And I feel like we're seeing that with these retrograde planets, and it's very, very, very interesting. So the nodes will always oppose one another. You'll always see that. For those of you that aren't familiar with what this graph is, the left side is making the aspect to the right side. It's usually the quicker planets to the slower planets. And the line is the orb of influence. So in other words, within 1 degree, you're going to feel this energy. Now some aspects like Mercury and Venus, all of the Venus aspects, I take them out a full 6 degrees. Because I study Venus and I'm a Venus specialist and I'm really tapped into her cycles. So her influence for me is a little bit longer. Now, here's the interesting part. This is when Mercury's going retrograde right here on the 17th and 18th. And Mercury is making a sextile to Venus. This doesn't actually happen that often, maybe about once a year, but it's usually when they're both on either side of the sun. So one maybe has their western elongation and then the other one has their eastern elongation. That's when you can get the full 60 degrees, which is a sextile between Mercury and Venus. And this energy is the divine hermaphrodite. Okay, not in the sense of having dual genitals, but the Hermes and Aphrodite energy. So it's a balance. It's a balance of the left masculine energy with the right feminine creative energy. It's really, really beautiful. In fact, when you can combine your right hemisphere and the left hemisphere of the brains, when you have a connection through that corpus callosum, the middle of your brain, what you get is like a brain surgeon pianist. You get a rocket scientist rock star. People that are able to, like polymaths, they're able to see the pattern and the codes and the analysis under everything, but at the same time, still create beautiful things and find new ways to do things. So this is actually longer because Mercury is stationing retrograde. If Mercury was not doing that, this would be a very short transit. So we get to experience this for several days, literally starting tomorrow until the end of next week because Venus is involved. Then we have some squares and conjunctions and oppositions to the lunar nodes. And we will look at that when I show you the Venus time map. And that's coming up towards the end of next week. This is the week I will be in Mexico right here. I'm so excited. And we have a new moon on July 24th. So for those of you that are channel members and part of the monthly Zoom calls, I will be doing that call on the 26th, our monthly call. That will be the day after I get back from Mexico. And I'm going to ask Lori to help me coordinate that while I'm gone because I don't think I'll have very good internet while I'm there. So I want to cover these aspects here shortly when I look at the Venus time map. But while I'm away, the sun is going to be making a trine to Neptune and Saturn. So this is part of the presentation that I did with the Sun Saturn cycle that has Saturn conjunct Neptune. And that's also in the members only section. So what I will probably do for you all is pop out that piece so that you can see, for those of you that are not members, so that you can see what that energy will feel like having Sun in a trine back to a retrograde Neptune and Saturn. And at that point, the sun will be in the Cancer. And of course, Neptune and Saturn will be in Pisces. So water energy. This is a very creative, nurturing energy for that internal work that we want to do, that we want to embody, that we want to externalize. And then, of course, right after that, we have Sun opposing Pluto during that new moon. I will probably at the end of this week, before I travel, get together with you guys on another live to review this next lunar cycle, and we will cover all of these as well. And then, of course, Venus sextile to Chiron at the very end of the month. So this is basically part of my process. When I get ready to do transits for you guys, I will dive into this particular grid and see what's going on. And develop a theme or a concept or an idea. Now, for this, I'm closing out my 12th moon of my solely lunar cycle. My birthday is August 4th, so right after this new moon, I'm going to be in a first house solar lunation. So for those of you that are Cancer suns, this is the end of our solely lunar year, and we're about to move into our first house energy. So this is a reemergence energy, at least for me, at least for Cancers. And I'm really excited to see what comes out of all of this. Let's dive a little deeper into some of this. This is my Venus transits map that I showed y'all when we did the Venus through Taurus. I believe I did that like early this week, the 29th. Let's go back. But here you can see what we've been through. We've had Venus square to Lilith. We've had Venus trine to Pluto. So very transformational energy while Pluto's retrograde and Lilith is retrograde. Transformational energy wanting to come to the surface, right? Lilith is now in Aquarius. And so sometimes those nudges that we get, those intuitive hits that we get that normally come through our body now may actually have words with Lilith being in Aquarius and in an air sign. And I feel like that's what's been happening for me. There's always been this sort of like underlying discontentment, at least in the last few months, that I couldn't quite put my finger on. But I think I have. And it's really, really interesting. Venus is also, or was sextile to Saturn and Neptune. Neptune went retrograde. I actually had a very intense nightmare on the 5th of July that changed everything for me. It's almost as if Neptune stationing retrograde and going retrograde flipped a switch in my subconscious. So I'm following that thread right now, and you can probably see that in my work as we move through this presentation. Then we have Venus conjunct Uranus on that full moon, that Sagittarius full moon. That felt like a really good swelling energy. Everything felt really nice as we were moving up to this moon, but then all of a sudden it was ugh, like a gut punch. Everything just kind of fell off. And then Saturn went retrograde. And now Venus is facing a square with Mars for the next 2.5 weeks, pretty much during the entire retrograde of Mercury. This is going to feel a little bit uncomfortable because we're going to have to come to terms with our masculine side and our feminine side. They're going to have to look at each other in a very harsh light, right? So, what is the masculine and feminine energy? Well, the feminine is your creative energy, your flow. You're the source. For me, Venus is like that internal divine spark of inspiration and creation. Like all of a sudden, your channels are open and you're flowing and you're moving in the flow, and things are manifesting and coming towards you. And Mars stands at the ready. His path to enlightenment is to enact the will of the creator, which is you, which is Venus. And when there's a square, there's a tension there. This could also mundanely mean that there are troubles in relationships. So, trying to work out that balance. So, if there's an imbalance in any of your relationships or in your own internal masculine and feminine polarity, then some of these things may try to balance themselves, whether you like it or not, during the next couple of weeks. Then again, Mercury picks up the sextile with Venus, and see how it's much longer when we add Venus to it, while the sun moves into the constellation of Cancer. So when we go from Gemini to Cancer, this energy is very different. It's quite a shift. You'll feel this week. You'll feel the tension with Mars coming up. You'll feel that creative energy with Mercury helping you out. And then you'll feel that shift from the brilliant mental, airy energy of the sun to like a deep, nurturing, centered, soul-focused energy, which is Cancer. For those of you that are Cancers, you're nurturers. You're gullible. You literally love everybody because you see the best in everyone. And that's precisely what I do. And it is to my detriment sometimes. Right after that switch, so a lot of shifts this week, guys. Right after that shift, Mercury or Venus is going to actually square the lunar nodes. And I think this creative genius, this upsurge of the divine hermaphrodite and her creative flair is going to be at odds a bit with the masculine energy as well as the destiny energy, which is, or your evolutionary energy, the north and the south node. And our north node is now in Aquarius, while our south node is in Leo. So, what are we doing with these nodes in this new position, in this new axis of energy? Well, Aquarius is the new age. It's futuristic thinking. It's what's good for the collective. It's inspiration, innovation, new ideas, AI. I don't know if you guys caught it, but Elon Musk's Grok was acting a little bit crazy over the last couple of days, creating all kinds of very interesting responses that, if you just look at it for what it is, it's just a language learning model. Being a little bit racist, actually. And so they had to take it down and fix it and make it a little bit more polite. But it's things like that where, things that we didn't expect to come from what we've created will come out, good or bad, good, bad, or otherwise. So I think we'll be seeing a lot more of that as we move into this Aquarius Leo axis. And then the South Node being in Leo is asking us to remember our divine innocence, to remember our divine perfection, right? If you're like a child, you're more likely to enter the kingdom of heaven than if you act like you know everything. So, going through the world wide-eyed and innocent and, trusting in the divine is, I think, what we're supposed to be remembering now as the South Node moves into Leo. And so your creative output's going to change because there's a square to this energy. What you've been doing, healing the collective, finding those trauma codes from the mother line and healing those and remembering those and working towards universal love and oneness is now a different set of goals for the collective. I know that my lunar nodes are also square this axis. So my destiny is squared to the collective's destiny. And that's always a little bit of a tough time for folks. 2 Mondays or next Monday, Venus will make a golden angle to Pluto, the golden phoenix angle. It's real quick. It's 1 degree. And that is going to feel like a revelation, a shock of truth, where you finally figure it out. if you're willing to see it, if you have the eyes to see it and the ears to hear it, and you're being mindful, Mercury retrograde, and you're listening, you might have a divine revelation right here. You might even find yourself being able to listen to conversations across the building or across the planet, or communicate with people telepathically, or, you know, spirit right, or channel. This is just really an exciting aspect. So I want you guys to pay attention to the 21st and the 22nd, and then let me know. Either email me or pop on the Facebook group and let me know how this golden phoenix angle with Venus to Pluto is resonating with you. This is going to happen right while I'm in Mexico, so that should be interesting. It's a relaxing vacation, so I'm not bringing the computer. I will only have my phone. I will probably be leaving it in the room, and just enjoying myself. There's a spa there, so when my body, I'm a very Venusian person. I have Taurus rising, and so when I'm in a relaxed and protected and safe environment, my creative output just explodes. So I'm very much looking forward to this week right here, especially with the sun moving into my home sign, and then the Cancer new moon as well. All right, so then after the square to the nodes ends, we've got Venus doing a sextile to Chiron, sexual healing. And then she'll square to Saturn and Neptune retrograde, uh, sort of challenging you to bring out your divine light. And then on the 30th, Venus will move into Gemini. So I'll probably get with you guys when I get back, and we'll do a Venus transits video. All right, so that's the transits. This is another way I like to look at it when I'm looking at astrology for you guys. I like to look at it as a timeline. And what I've done here, I don't know if you can zoom in, but you'll see the different color patterns here. And these represent the different constellations. And the measuring stick for this timeline is the sun. So if we are on the 13th of July, 317, then we should be right about here. Okay, so if you were to look in the sky, you would see the sun right here. Okay. Now, so as you see here, these colors, they change. So this is when the sun moves into Cancer. This is when the sun moves into Leo. This is when the sun moves into Virgo. Okay, and then I didn't go to Libra. It doesn't go that far. But what you'll see under here is a thinner line, and this represents the tropical Western calendar. It's just a calendar. It's you will basically call these months by the month on the Gregorian calendar. You could call it blueberry if you wanted to, because they're not aligned to the sky. So these are the tropical months. This is the Taurus month, the Gemini month, and the Cancer month. So for tropical astrology, we are in the middle of Cancer. Okay. And then this is the Leo month, and the Virgo month, and the Libra month. All right. So let's get into some of this code, because this is really where it's at right here. This fine structure constant is so amazing. One of the things that to understand about it is if you, most of you hopefully know the current model that we have of the atomic structure. We basically have this cloud of electrons that are around a central nucleus of protons and neutrons. So you have electron cloud and you have protons and neutrons in the middle. And they're pretty confident at this structure, because when they do the mathematics and then they do experiments, it plays out. Everything comports. It makes sense. But what happens is that they seem to have to add a constant to the math in order to work out, in order to do their equations. And it's the number one, actually 1 over 137.3 is the number that keeps coming up. So they call it the fine structure constant. Now, every single atom that sits there with its electronic cloud is affected by the space around it. So it's floating in the energy currents, and when it gets a jolt of energy, it's going to do one of three things. It's going to either absorb the energy, it's going to reflect the energy, or it's going to emit its own energy in the form of photons. Okay, so it will either absorb, reflect, or emit. In order to get an atom to a high enough energy state, in order for it to actually emit a photon of light, you have to apply 137 times the ground state energy. The ground state meaning that the atom is just sitting there doing its thing. So if it's just sitting there doing its thing and nothing's affecting it, it's going to just be fine. It's not going to emit, reflect, or absorb. But if you apply a field of energy to it that is 137 times its ground state, it will emit a photon of light. And that's a fact for every atom. So that's very interesting. And today's date is 713. The time we started was 137. So let's look at this timeline because I want to show you some synchronicities, some connections between this number and the celestial cycles, especially the sun and the moon. Most of you are familiar with our 29.5 day lunar cycle from phase to phase. So, in other words, from new moon to new moon, quarter moon to first quarter moon, full moon to the next full moon, third quarter to the next third quarter is 29.5 days. This is called a synodic lunar cycle. So we have 29.5 days. Now, if we think about the sun, we're in it right now, aren't we? We're in a solar maximum. This is about an 11-year cycle. So every 11 years, the sun will begin erupting, creating sunspots, flipping its poles, its magnetic poles, and causing electromagnetic disturbances throughout the solar system and in Earth's ionosphere. Okay, so the sun has this every 11-year cycle. And here's the really interesting part. There are precisely 137 synodic lunar cycles, 29.5 day cycles, new moon to new moon, full moon to full moon within that 11-year solar cycle. And this is from the book Cycles of Heaven, if you want to see that. I actually highlighted that about 3 years ago before I even knew about the fine structure constant, before I even knew about the Phoenix research. And then I came across it again, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's why it's always resonated with me, because there's something about that number. But there's more. There's more. So today, 7:13 at 1:37:33 p.m., the moon is at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Okay. What you'll notice about the synodic cycle, let me go back a second, is that the new moons are in different signs. They change constellations every month. They move counterclockwise each month. So every new moon, every full moon will be in the constellation that follows it. So that is the synodic cycle. With the sidereal cycle, we are watching the moon from point to point with the stars as the reference point. So it's not the sun, it's not the phase, it's the actual stars. So if we use today's location of the moon right now at 0 degrees Aquarius, and we look for the next instance when the moon will be at 0 degrees Aquarius in the future, what we find is that we are 27.2 days or so from that point. So let me just rephrase that. So we're at 0 degrees Aquarius here and 0 degrees Aquarius here for the moon. Okay? Not full moon to full moon. You can see it's just a little bit shorter than the 29-day cycle. This is 27 days. So there it is again on August 9th. And that's called a sidereal lunar cycle. Okay? Here's what put it all together for me. And I don't know if it's going to light you up like it lit me up, but here is the mathematical equation that describes our skies and tells me that we are in some sort of programmed space. And I think if we understand this code, if we understand our code, the code, how it works, then we can manage our existence a little bit easier. We can see the path ahead of us a little bit more clearly. If you take that number of days and you multiply it by pi and phi, you get 137. So one sidereal lunar cycle times pi and phi gives you the fine structure constant, or the inverse of the fine structure constant. While one synodic lunar cycle from phase to phase, that occurs 137 times within one 11-year solar cycle. That to me is amazing, This is not even decoding. This is not even using gematria or the periodic table. This is simply just using the numbers and showing you the code that's literally right above our heads. So here's phi and pi. Here, for those of you that don't know what pi and phi are, phi is the golden ratio. This is a number that is derived from the Fibonacci sequence. And the Fibonacci sequence is real simple. You just take 1 and 2. Then you add these numbers, you get 3. You add these numbers, you get 5. You add these numbers, you get 8. There's so much more to this, but this is the string of digits. You just keep adding the previous 2 numbers to get the next. These 3 right here describe the Venus dance with Earth, 5, 8, and 13. The next number is 21. The one after that is 34, 55, 89, and 144. I can keep going, but you get my point. And so this ratio, this, for example, A could just as easily be 144 inches and this length 89 inches. And we would get 144 over 89 equaling 1.618. After 13, the numbers beyond the decimal get bigger and bigger and bigger. It gets more irrational and non-repeatable. So that's the golden mean. This creates the golden spiral, the spiral that you see in the conch shells, spirals that you see in tornadoes or in galaxies, in hurricanes. It creates this shape. There's other mathematical numbers that create spirals, but this is the golden spiral. Okay. And then, of course, we have pi, which is simply the circumference divided by the diameter, regardless of the size of your circle. So if you have a circle of 314, then your diameter is probably 10 or 100. So if you have a diameter of 100, the circumference is going to be 314. Okay. And we use circles and spirals in astrology, do we not? Yes, we do, because we take a 2-dimensional slice of our 3-dimensional stellosphere, and then we put our sun here, and we put our moon here, and we put our Jupiter here, and we put our Saturn here, and we create angles between them, and we look at the sky. So this is the pi, but remember, these planets are always moving. So they're exhibiting this movement, which is the spiral. And I've shown that in many, many, many decodes. And then, of course, 1 over 137 point, it's actually supposed to be 0.03. That's the symbol for the fine structure constant. Okay, so simple arithmetic, simple geometry. Now, shout out to Lady Rocks. She showed me that there's a golden angle that you can create by applying this same ratio to the lengths around the circle. So this is called an arc length. When it is when it's on a circle, it's called an arc length, and we measure it in degrees. And a circle is 360 degrees. So if we put a point here, let's say we put sun here, and we put moon here, then the ratio between this arc distance here, the blue one, and the red one is 1.618. The angle between them, if you're standing in the center, is a 137.5 degree angle. Wow. Okay. So pi, circle, phi, spiral, golden ratio creates this angle that is the fine structure constant. And this is what's happening in the sky, in the solar system. This is what's happening in the atom, at the atomic level, at the photon level. So this is a very important number. This is a very important day, 713 at 137. And of course, 137, 33 is the 33rd prime. And 33 is a huge number. When you find a 33, that's the universe saying, yes, hello. Pi and phi in the phi cipher is 33. When you put the 2 numbers together, and their numbers are inverses of one another. Pi is 12, phi is 21. And 21 is actually a Fibonacci number, and it is the 21st letter in the Greek alphabet. So a lot of synchronicities right there, just talking about pi and phi. All right, I encourage you all to go back to this video, lunar codes, because I break this down even more. I mean, I go into the details. I break down a lunar cycle, but you'll get the point of the golden phoenix angle and how we calculate it and what that means. But the two slides that really sum it all up are following. The description is, or the link to this video is in the description below. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend you do that. So this was one of the slides that I showed. It was just a couple months ago, and I showed the Phoenix angle between sun and moon. And this is quick. This is only hours, but this happens twice a month because the moon's going to move in this direction around the wheel. And it will hit the Phoenix angle here, and it will hit the Phoenix angle here, or the golden Phoenix angle. Okay. And what I did is I basically calculated not only the degrees, the distances, just to prove it to myself, but I also calculated the time. And what I found was actually really stunning. Here's pretty much the findings on that. So 360 degrees divided by 33 is 10.9 degrees. And the distance that the moon travels, or the time it takes for the moon to travel from the Phoenix angle to the sun, the golden Phoenix angle to the sun, is 10 days, 22 hours, and 33 minutes, which is precisely 10.9 days. So if you take those arc lengths, the distance in degrees, and you divide the distance by 33, you get a number that corresponds to the time it takes for the moon to travel. If you do the same with the days, because the sun takes 365 days to travel this, and you divide that by 33, you get 11 days, 1 hour, and 26 minutes, which is pretty close. I mean, that's pretty darn close for me. They're both around 11. And I think it's really interesting that sun in Chaldean numerology is 365. So go watch that video. There's probably about 80 slides on this, breaking all this down for you guys, in all the instances of 137. Now, 713 is the day of today, and it is the 317th decimal digit in the golden phi ratio. They're basically the same number. They're just, mixed up. They're just reorganized, interpolated. So you can do that in numerology. When a number shows up, it can show up in any permutation it desires, and you'll still get the same effect. So if we take July 13th, 317, they're basically the same number in the golden phi string of digits. So this is the string of digits. If you were to go to subidium.com, you can put in 713 and click on the phi, and it will give you this. So it's 317, 318, and 319. Now, here's what's really interesting. If you take 317, it is also the 137th digit in the golden phi ratio. So again, same process. To go to Subidium, and you put this number in instead of this number, and you get 137. So 713 through 317 takes us to 137 through phi, which is amazing. I mean, this is just the underlying code. I didn't make this up. I didn't create this. This is just already there. And so if we have the eyes to see this, we'll see this number everywhere, and it will be speaking to us because we notice it in our subconscious. And if you allow your conscious mind to notice what your unconscious can see, then you're bound to follow your higher self in a much more efficient way than you would if you could not. Now, like I said before, 137 is the 33rd prime. 317 is the 66th prime. Isn't that interesting? So they're both double-digit prime numbers. If you take 713, it is the product of two prime numbers. So what I did is I just took those two prime numbers and I multiplied their prime numerality. So 31 is the 11th prime and 23 is the 9th prime. What number do you think you get if we multiply 11 times 9? You get 99. So that's just a nice little sort of dive into how we can get these numbers. This is the 369 times 2. So it's a very powerful connection to, what we're doing, creating, the what actually powers what's going on around here. This is the code that I think runs the atom, runs the solar system. And if we extrapolate that from the atom to the universe, we're in the middle observing it all. It probably extrapolates to us as well. So let's look at day 194. 194 is a stable isotope of platinum. This was a very important metal to the Mayan culture. But what was pointed out to me right away was the number 78. And that just says to me, as I'm decoding, as I'm looking through and kind of seeing where the trail goes, that says use tarot. That says show me some tarot cards. So I said, all right, let me reduce 194 by 78. I get the number one. I get the number 38. 38 is the Two of Cups. So look what's in here. This is the caduceus, the twin snakes, the DNA, the duality right here. And it takes the masculine energy and the feminine energy to come together to create that medicine, to create that union. And so I think that this fine structure constant might be giving us a clue with the astrology of Venus and Mercury together of how to use this energy. The corresponding card in the regular playing cards is the Two of Hearts. And it goes like that. It starts with 0 with the Joker, and then it goes hearts, clubs, I think it's diamonds, and then spades. I might have the clubs and spades mixed up, but at any rate, 2 of diamonds is the second card. Now, if you add those two cards together, you get 40. And the numerology of the day, if you add all the numbers together, is 20. So calcium is coming up in the periodic table also. And look at this glyph. I didn't call the Royal Chemistry Society and ask them to draw a spiral on here for me. They just did it. So, it's a nod from the universe. Today is one of those days where the spiral sort of turns inward and we can look at this code and find some really amazing connections. And then, of course, the number 40, or the 40th prime, is 173, which is, again, another permutation of 713. Are you guys excited yet? All right. Let's go to today's date, July 13th of 2025. We'll just keep these cards on the side here for a moment and look at this energy here. The card for the day is the Two of Diamonds. So it's another 2 energy. We've got the Two of Cups and the Two of Diamonds. This is the 28th card in the playing card deck. The corresponding card in the tarot is 66, and it's the Two of Pentacles. So there's our 66 from 317. Super interesting. And of course, there's our spiral. Spirals is 37. Okay, well, why do we care about spirals? Well, when I get into the medical astrology, you will see that our ascendant is a very important energy. So it's almost as if the day is saying, yes, you need to go in and look at your ascendant and see what kind of astrological body type you have. And the ascendant is the most important energy. And I think we'll close out the numerology part of it by looking at what element is number 77. And it is iridium. And this is the beautiful dragonfly. And the dragonfly in the medicine deck is card number 27. Wow. Where have we seen 27 before? Right here. Okay. I rest my case, Your Honor. Here we are. So how was that for you guys? Did that make sense? Man, I can't believe we've been going an hour already. Let's see. I'm just going to stop sharing for a second, check in with you guys. Cool. We got 24. Let's see. Bobby Bougie's here, born on a 2-7. Very cool. Very cool. So you already have the fine structure constant. I mean, you just have to multiply yourself by pi and phi, and you are the fine structure constant. Teresa checked on the 99th prime. It is 523. Yeah, we could follow that trail. Christine Yan has the same life path as me. So yeah, whenever we see 33, we're automatically connected to it because of the master teacher number. And then your born name is 66. Very cool. Let's see who else is here. Chat with Mary Mystic Lorna. Awesome life code. Oh, Christine, thank you for the bam and the bam and the bam. All right, cool. Yeah, that was a fun little decode. I could probably decode that number and pi and 5 for about 3 hours straight. So, yeah, that's pretty exciting. All right, let's see. Let's get back into this. We're gonna look at the body types now. So, it's a little bit more complicated than just knowing your sun sign or just knowing your ascendant. And I will dive into that a little bit with y'all. So let's do that. All right, the body types. So first, I want to shout out to this amazing, beautiful soul, Judith Hill. She is a tropical astrologer, one of the few tropical astrologers I follow. And the reason why is because of this, because one of the very first few things she said during her instructions were the Western tropical zodiac signs are seasons. Oops. And they are not as one might suppose. So here's an astrologer living in her truth. But what she has found was that the work she's done does incredibly correspond to the whole 12 sign tropical wheel. And I'm not sure why that is. So this presentation will be a bit of an experiment because since we all do the constellational astrology here, if you guys find that this resonates with you, if you see that it also works for what you're seeing in yourself and in others, then I think that's something very interesting to look at. So her whole point, the whole idea in this book is once again that our thoughts and feelings shape our body, and each of these, our body is made up of elements: earth, fire, air, and water. And these elements are being influenced or affected by the movements and the location of the planets and luminaries. So when we have an abundance of one type of an element or a deficit of another kind of an element, then our body responds to that morphogenically. So our phenotype changes shape. And what she stresses in her book on astrophysiognomy is that you can have the exact same chart between a set of twins and their morphology may be different. So if you have fraternal twins that are born 2 minutes apart, a boy and a girl, they are going to have different morphologies, but yet similar morphologies. And your DNA is a big part of it. She also made a point to point out that her research, everything that she came upon, was focused on sort of the Indo-Western Caucasian area of the world. Not to exclude the Oriental or the African races, but it just wasn't something that was written up at the time of the Renaissance literature. So a lot of this is going to be more of the Caucasoid or Indo-Western phenotypes. Okay. And it's based on your DNA. So it's like you're not going to have a certain hair color. If your whole family has red hair, you're not going to have, dark black hair, because your DNA just won't give it to you, even if you've got a brown hair chart. So that's the point she makes. And the book that I'm referring to is this book. It's called Astrological Body Types by Judith Hill. I have linked her website and her channel in the description below. She teaches medical astrology and herbology based on astrology. It's very, very, very interesting stuff. I put this chart up just to remind you that the zodiac signs do in fact correspond to certain body parts. And you can put Ophiuchus in this right here. So Ophiuchus can sit right here with Scorpio because they're next to one another in the sky. So Aries, it basically goes from top down. And another thing I wanted to point out is that all of the illustrations that I'm showing you were hand drawn by Judith. So she drew all of the graphics that you're going to see. She's one of those left and right brained kind of polymath people as well. So Aries is the top of the head, the eyes, the upper jaw, the upper teeth, and your brain. Taurus is your lower jaw, your lower teeth, your mouth, your tongue, your ears, your neck, your tonsils, and your larynx. Gemini is your shoulders, arms, hands, fingers, lungs, bronchial tubes, clavicles, and capillaries. And Cancer is the breast, the rib cage, the stomach, the uterus, and the spleen. Leo is your heart, your back, your dorsal vertebrae, your spinal sheaths. Virgo is your intestines, all the guts, everything in the inside, including your immune system. So, appendix, abdomen, spleen, lower lobes of the liver, the pancreas. Libra is the kidneys, equilibrium, the adrenal glands, and the lower back. Also, you could put ovaries here. Scorpio is genitals, colon, sweat glands, bladder, nose, pelvis, and sacrum. So it's responsible for the excretion. So everything that you expel out of your body, out of either end of that tube, is associated with Scorpio and Ophiuchus. Sagittarius is hips, thighs, your sciatic nerve, arteries, and buttocks. Capricorn is knees, bones, joints, skin, cuticles, and nails. And Aquarius is ankles, shins, Achilles tendon, circulation of the blood, and the electrical body, while Pisces is your feet, your toes, your lymph system, and your immune system with Virgo. And notice that Pisces and Virgo are across the chart from one another. So that immune system spans the entire width of the zodiac. So your immune system is really, really, really important. It protects you. Now, have I seen this correspondence in constellational astrology? You bet your ass I have. And I have noticed it in correspondence with the location of asteroid Lilith. So it's that little sort of triple U-shaped deal that you see in the chart. Wherever this body is, this is the asteroid, will be how your intuition speaks through your body. Okay? So I've got her in Gemini. When I am not listening to my intuition, I feel pain in my shoulders, pain in my arms and hands, fingers. I get short of breath. I feel like something's sitting on my chest. So let me know if you know where your Lilith is. Let me know if you ever get sort of weird, non-diagnosable issues in that part of your body. It seems to correspond very nicely with readings that I've done. Okay, so let's get into the elements. So here are the four basically building blocks of your astro physiognomy. And we are going to discuss the water element first. So here we go. Oh, real quick. Earth, air, fire, and water is 56. And if you put that in the phi cipher, you get 56. But barium in the atomic number is 56, and its mass is 137. So there's just a nice little connection there that we are talking about what we should be talking about today, at least in terms of the elements. So here are the body types. We have water, we have earth, we have fire, and we have air. And what you will find is that with the water types, this is a feeling type, okay? So this is Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. If you have a very strong Jupiter, a strong moon, a strong Neptune, or Venus in Taurus, then you're going to be more of a water type, a feeling type. So the body is typically endomorphic, meaning soft and round. The traditional temperament is phlegmatic, meaning it's expressive. Like there's always sort of crying and emoting and letting things out. The body shape is going to be round or pear-shaped, and the metabolism is going to be slow and cool-bodied. And it's definitely a feeling energy. So she'll put some character traits in this book, things like sociable, affectionate, domestic, nurturing, protective, peaceful, indulgent, sensual, food-loving, emotional, slow, sensitive, lazy, passive, receptive, subjective, and kind. And then she lists some careers that might be potentially suitable for the water type. So mother, nurse, daycare worker, politician, social service worker, healing professional, cook, midwife, psychic, musician, novelist, poet, caretaker, shopkeeper, innkeeper. So anybody that's just taking care of people. It's moon energy, right? The moon likes to take care of people. All right, so that is the water type. And what you want to, let me do this. Let me go through the rest of these first before I go to the next slide. The earth type, this guy right here lifting the barbell, this is an excess or preponderance of earth signs. So a lot of planets in Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, or the fixed signs like Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. The body type is what they call mesomorphic, meaning square, massive, heavy, or dense. The traditional temperament is melancholic, right? So this seems to serve the Saturnian types a little bit better, those that have a lot of Capricorn earth energy. The body shape is square or rectangular. Their metabolism is warm-blooded, and their Jungian type is sensation. So the earth types like to feel, like to sensate, while the water types like to feel. I feel like maybe we say this better and say the water types like to emote, while the earth types like to feel. Maybe that's how we say it. Like, so Cancer, Moon, water types are sort of expressing their feelings, while the earth types are letting the feelings come to them. This is a steadfast, earnest, dependable, productive, possessive, realistic, maternalistic, strong, down to earth energy. Careers you might find for people like this would be builders, farmers, bricklayers, truck drivers, gardeners, heavyweight boxer, businessman, football player, police officers, movers, architects, stonemasons, laborers, anything that has to do with the physical stuff of the planet. And then we have fire, the experimental type. So the fire type results from an excess of or preponderance of the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sag. And this is augmented by a strong sun or Mars in the planetary birth map. So fire signs tend to have baldness in males. The body type is lean and muscular. The traditional temperament is choleric. And I think choleric means just sort of they're always brooding, or that might be melancholy. She uses a lot of these old Renaissance terms. The body shape is triangular with the base at the top. And they typically are very intuitive types. They're outgoing, confident, dramatic, experimental, independent. It's a warm, positive, and playful energy. Their careers are typically performers, band leaders, showmen, athletes, gamblers, explorers, entrepreneurs, fighters, pilots, race car drivers, just anything that has excitement in what they do. All right. And the final type is the air type. This is the thinking type. So the air type results from an excess or preponderance of air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, or an excess or preponderance of mutable signs like Gemini, Sagittarius, and Virgo. The air type is augmented by the planets Mercury, Uranus, and Saturn. So note that air signs tend to also result in baldness in males. The body type is ectomorphic, long, slender, bony, and nervous. Their traditional temperament is sanguine. The body shape is long and linear, and the metabolism is fast and cool-bodied. So they might be nervous, idealistic, inquisitive, talkative, intellectual, sensitive, detached, clever, hopeful. The planet Saturn is also associated with an ectomorphic body type. However, Saturn produces a slow-moving, melancholic temperament more akin to earth signs. Also, Saturnian body types are bony and stiff, quite unlike the fluid, fast-moving, and graceful air types or the thick and heavy earth types. You might find these people as teachers, lecturers, writers, messengers, inventors, journalists, TV show hosts, interviewers, jugglers, rock musicians, scientists, and or astrologers. So I don't know if I think I'm somewhere between an air and an earth type, or maybe even a little bit of water. So, all right, let's see. So here are some of the significators that you would want to look in the birth chart if you wanted to find out what your preponderant element might be. You want to look at your moon sign if you're a female. Where's your moon? Mine's in Capricorn, so that's a very earth energy. So that might explain why I definitely have some earth energy in my physique. I have the square hands. You want to look at your ascending sign. I also have an earth ascending sign, which is, Venus's sign. And also the sign tenanted by the planetary ruler of the ascendant sign. So where is my Venus? Well, she's in Gemini. So I've got my planetary ruler, my chart ruler is in an air sign, even though my ascendant is an earth sign and my moon is an earth sign. So then you want to see where your sun is, and you want to be aware of the cusp signs. And this, I think, is a product of precession right here, this statement. This is very, very interesting. People born within 1 or even 2 days of sign cusps or borders may resemble their neighboring sign. Isn't that interesting? Now, why do you think it would resemble the neighboring sign? Why do you think that? Because it may actually be that sign. That's why I think this works. This is the most frequent for people born at the tail end of one sign. Yeah, that makes complete sense to me. So this same rule can hold for the cusp of the ascendant. Now, the opposite sign to the sun sign is also important. So this can be more obvious than the sun sign for persons born close to sunset or midnight. So those of you with a sunset to midnight birth, if you look on the other side of the chart where your sun sign is and look at that sign, that may be the sign that signifies your body type or your preponderance of elements. The planets that are nearest the ascending degree on either side, planets conjunct the ascendant, will take precedence over the sign on the ascendant. So let's say, for example, right now, let's see, if I put the sky over my birth chart, I've got Uranus on my ascendant. So if you have Uranus on your ascendant, even though it's in Taurus, you may have more of an airy nervous type than an earthy type if you were born with Uranus on the ascendant. Let's see. So for example, should Jupiter be rising in Capricorn, the physical appearance will in most cases be more Jupiterian than it will be Capricornian. Any planet closely conjunct the planetary ruler of the ascendant, sun or moon. Okay, so I've got, I've got Venus conjunct asteroid Lilith and Saturn. So I might have a lot of Saturnian energy, earthy energy with my air and earth energy while my sun is in a water sign. So I can see I have 3 of those. Now, the sign position of the decadent ruler of the ascendant sign is often surprisingly prominent. So basically what this means is that in tropical, you divide the sign by 10-degree slices. So you get 3 of them. You have the first 10 degrees, the second 10 degrees, and the third 10 degrees. And so if your ascendant, whatever rules that 10 degrees of that sign, may also describe your body type. We're not going to get into all those details. I really just want you guys to know what your ascendant energy is, if you have any planets there, and what your planetary ruler is, and your sun and your moon. Most of you can do that if you go to the free chart and look. Whatever's going on the left side of the chart, right at the horizon, that's your ascendant sign. And whatever rules that sign is your planetary ruler. Now, any sign possessing a stellium of 5 or more planets. So what that means is that you could have nothing on your ascendant, but then in your 7th house, maybe you've got, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Sun, and Moon. And it's a totally different sign. That stellium might be more important for your body type than your actual ascendant. So if your ascendant's empty, but you got a stellium in another house or another sign in a different place, that may be more important for you. And also stationary planets. So if you pull a chart and your planets are saying SR next to them, or they have just turned RX, then this might be important as well. So this is a planet that has no apparent motion at the time of birth, and it is very powerful and may dominate the physical appearance. Consider any planetary stations occurring within 1 day from birth for Mercury, Venus, and Mars, and 1 to 3 days for the slower planets. You will need an ephemeris to calculate this. So then you want to know what the dominant element of the chart is. And you do that by looking through there. You see where everything is. You can even set up a table and say, okay, we got sun in a water sign. We got moon in an earth sign. The ascendant is earth. And, see where most of those check marks follow up. In the course that I do for Stellar Foundations, we have 1 full module on gender and the elements in astrology. And I show you how to do this. So consider taking that class next time we get started on it. And then, of course, the dominant mode. So this is a nice list if you want to screenshot that to help you look at your chart. And of course, this is not a coincidence. This is a synchronicity right here, you guys, that it's page 33 in this book. All right, moving on. So here are some of the profiles for the face for different planetary types. You've got the lunar type. You've got the Martian type. You've got the Saturnian type, the Venusian type, the Mercurial type, and the Jupiterian type. Notice there's no solar type. So it's basically the other 6 besides the sun in this classical astrology model. Now, I don't know. I feel like I'm probably a mercurial type, at least with my face. I don't know. You guys tell me. I feel like it's either this one or this one. I'm definitely not this guy, and I'm definitely not that guy, and I'm definitely not that guy or that guy. So I think it's between one or two of these. um, all right. Let's go through the constellations. They don't have Ophiuchus. We're just gonna lump Ophiuchus into Scorpio, since they're in the same part of the sky. So we'll just go through these and see what we get. All right. So there's two types of Aries energy. Type 1 is the primary type, and that's going to be basically the Mars energy. Let me read you Mars. I don't know where she put it. That's okay. Type 2 is going to be a second Aries type that is lean and has high cheekbones. These guys actually almost look like Leos, but it's the fire energy, right? So the fire signs are all going to look a little bit similar. They've got high cheekbones, angular or narrow pointed jawline, a small, sharp, and upturned or sharp cat-like nose, upward slanting eyes, and clearly outlined full red lips, red or blonde hair in Caucasians, and broad shoulders and narrow hips. Both Aries types enjoy the color red. If you get this book, the Astrology Body Types, there is probably about a 30-page paper in the back of this that will describe her research on redheads. It's fascinating. So the second type is very common in Aries females and may indicate an admixture with a related fire sign of Leo. So you want to look for the widow's peak, a strongly V-shaped joined eyebrow, and a bald spot or prominence towards the back or crown of the head. Okay, so that's the Aries types. Are you guys looking in the mirror yet to see which type you might be? This is the Taurus type. This is why I think I might be a Taurus type, because I don't know. I feel like this is more similar to my face, and this is definitely my hand. I have the short, kind of square hands. But Taurus is going to be expressed physically as square and muscular with a well-built frame. Taurus types have solid, heavy bones and large, fleshy hands and feet. The face and jaw tend to be square with the lower face dominant. The mouth is very large and sensual. The chin is square and dimpled or cleft. Taurian noses are soft and wide, as is the general appearance of the face. The eyes are large-lidded, often, and bovine-looking, as is the general expression. Taurus hair is thick, soft, and inclines to brown tones. When possible, the eyes also tend toward a brown, earthy coloration. The neck and shoulders are very powerful and thick. Voice quality is outstanding in some way, and the Adam's apple may be prominent. Taurus people enjoy well-made and textural clothing and are one of the best dressed of the sign types. And the body's usually typically very warm. So that is your Taurus type. Now we have the Gemini type. And again, this is ruled by Mercury. I might go through the planets when we get through this, but we'll see what's going on here. So you want to watch for expressive hands and multiple finger rings or bracelets. Geminis are noted for their beautiful, luminous, elfin-like twinkling eyes. A true Gemini type is quick-moving, agile, and surprisingly strong despite a slender and lanky appearance. The shoulders, while not muscular, are sometimes quite broad, giving a coat hanger appearance to the upper frame, and the neck is long and narrow. There is a long-legged and slim-hipped sign with a high-positioned gluteus maximus, similar to the opposite sign Sagittarius. The forehead is also high. I have a high forehead, so I don't know. I feel like I have a mix of that. The shoulders, while not muscular, are sometimes quite broad, giving a coat hanger appearance to the upper frame, and the neck is long and narrow. This is a long-legged and slim-hipped sign with a high-positioned gluteus maximus. Okay, so the general impression is a sparkling, merry, witty energy. If not sarcastic, they rarely stop talking. Often you'll find Geminis carting along the accoutrement of their latest hobbies: a camera, ski poles, a favorite new book, roller skates, and or odd gadgets. This sign delights in personal transportation, such as motorbikes, bicycles, rollerblades, and skateboards. I don't know. I might be this type too, because I have an electric bicycle and a unicycle. All right. Type 2 is going to be very tall, high waisted, thin bodied, and often very athletic and looking somewhat emaciated. The nose is long and aquiline, and the mouth is small and thin lipped, giving one strong impressions of a bird. The forehead of this type is very high, with the eyes somewhat pop eyed in expression and set wide apart. So, Gemini's hair is peculiarly fine, flyaway, and wavy, tending to be light brown in the Caucasian type. The hands and arms are long, thin, and noticeable. This is a high waisted sign with legs much longer than the torso. Geminis often have one wandering eye or an uncoordinated frontal gaze. Geminians are often noted for their luminous, highly expressive, sometimes beautiful, and definitely twinkling eyes, and the shoulders are broad or Egyptian. So it's a very restless energy, scattered and overworked. They love to play devil's advocate. And again, I'll let you guys get this book and read those descriptions, but this is very, very interesting. So some of the Gemini signatures could be a high voice, chattering and talkative, pointed chin, dainty pixie features, bird-like features. So very interesting. All right, let's get into Cancer. So there's also two types of Cancers here. Type 1 is more of the moon and the motherly, the matronly energy. And then type 2, it just depends on what kind of moon you have. So if you're born on a full moon, you might be more prone to the type 1 Cancer phenotype. And if you're born on a new moon, you might have the type 2 phenotype. So awareness of the internal environment, personal feelings, subjective emotional states. So the primary Cancer exactly resembles the lunar type. The classic moon or lunar type appears to be fashioned after the moon in her full phase, whereas the type 2 reflects the new moon. And the new moon Cancerians have a long, narrow face with a sad, dreamy, and somewhat woebegone expression. On first glance, new moon Cancerian has much in common with the Saturnian type. However, a deeper observation will reveal that this type possesses none of the Saturnian's brittleness. The body is narrow, especially at the chest and shoulders, which appear exceedingly delicate and bird-boned. The body is graceful and fluid. When youthful, the body is slender to emaciated, yes, with age, but may put on considerable watery weight, and the nose is long and aquiline, the eyes large and sad, the mouth is long and fine, and the jaw quite narrow. All right. The hair of the new moon Cancer is often abundant, wavy, and worn very long. Dark coloration seems more typical than fair. The complexion and attractiveness vary depending on the day, mood, or light. The type can be hauntingly beautiful one day and quite plain in the next. The hands are delicate and sensitive with conical to pointed fingertips, and the overall look is that of the high priestess seen in the major arcana of the tarot deck. All right. So let's see what else they say. So the full moon type might have a round, flat face, weak bone structure, deep eyes set, weak chin, a small slit through large, full lips, round or phlegmatic body, small shoulders. The females are buxom, protruding stomach, small hands and feet, round hairline, abundant hair worn long. Males keep their hair with a Cancer full moon type. They're often musical. They're emotionally intimate and nurturing. All right. So now we move on to Leo. This is ruled by the sun. It's a fire sign. This is a very, very distinct faces right here. I mean, I don't think you could, this just looks like some people that I know. So the Leo type has a broad and angular face, very high cheekbones, and a cat-like face with beautifully large upward slanting eyes that have confident and haughty gaze. Think of, so the full lips are sharply outlined and the upper lip curls or sneers in the manner of Elvis Presley. The Leonian body type is of medium height with very broad shoulders and narrow hips. Arms, back, and chest are muscular and well-developed. The Leo body is warm, and the complexion and hands may appear flushed. Age may witness an arrival of deep jowls and sweeping folds of the skin from the nose flange to the outer corner of the mouth. A Leo native, Alfred Hitchcock, provides the best example of this effect. So if you guys want to see what he looks like. So they have striking manes of hair with strong color of any color. Their voice is low and very strong and sometimes authoritative. Leos dress in a loud or gaudy manner. They love garish jewelry, especially gold medallions and emblems worn about the upper chest. This is a healthy, strong, vital, and extremely handsome type. So let's see here. Yep. So a large head, big chin or jaw, high cheekbones, flaring nostrils, proud and playful manner, and they dress to attract attention. Sometimes people nail it. That's just what they look like, and you know that they're that type. All right, let's get into Virgo. Virgos are pretty easy to spot too. I can tell you guys online because you're always like, well, what about this tiny, small little detail that you didn't mention? I'm like, you must have Virgo energy somewhere. This is going to be an exceedingly tidy and tasteful, or quite the reverse. So natives of this sign frequently resemble their opposite sign, Pisces. So be prepared to encounter frequent Piscean Virgos. The hair suffers in this sign. Premature grayness, dryness, lack of body, and drab color seems to be rather typical. The body is also dry and prone to dehydration and facial lining. The extreme Virgo nose may appear narrow and pinched if an invisible clothespin has been applied. Normally fit, agile, and a petite sign, when mixed with Taurus, Jupiter, or Neptune, they may be tank-like and somewhat clumsy. So they tend to be, excuse me, refined, finely cut facial features, long, thin lips with points at the corners, long, thin, narrow, pointy noses, fit, agile, slender bodies. They both male and female are gymnast type bodies, and they're fast moving, alert, reserved, intelligent, and efficient. They're often shy. They have high, fast voices, thin, fine hair, prone to premature aging and dryness, small hands, small head, and very busy. All right. And here is the Libra type. So, in general, this is a Venusian expression that is the purest. So typical Libran attributes are the egg-shaped oval head and face, although occasionally Libra will give a round face. The forehead and the upper head are high and full, where the jaw is quite weak and the chin may be entirely lacking. True Librans almost always have lovely voices. Some astrologers note a secondary Libra type said to exactly resemble an owl. Many Librans possess small, sweet features and a baby face look. So there's the baby face there. So you can see how that little baby face grows into an owl look. They typically have long legs. They often have flat behinds and full chests. Sometimes they're androgynous looking. They have smooth, lovely, velvety skin, or they could have acne. They have a cupid bow upper lip. So they have that little, that little cute little pinch at the top of their lips. And they have lovely, moist, and shiny hair. Full eyelids, pretty eyes, oval face, charming voice. And then the cupid's bow look. Long, narrow hands and feet. And a weak chin. All right, so that's you Librans. Again, these are all drawn by Judith Hill. I think this is pretty cool. Let's see, Scorpio and Ophiuchus types. So this is going to be expressed physically as a body of short to medium stature with a very strong gaze and a thick set frame. The limbs are dense and heavy. Scorpio denseness to the hair as well. This being one of the most hirsute types. So in other words, Scorpios are the hairiest. Coloration is prone towards darkness, black if it is genetically possible, and or red. The hair is coarse in texture as the skin, which is all too frequently pocked, scarred, or prone to severe acne. Scorpio governs the sweat glands, and the pores of the skin are very large. Body odor is also very strong. Listen for trademark, low, sultry, or sexy smoker's voice. There seems to exist two distinct facial types. So facial type 1 has a very fine cut or chiseled features, large, fine, sharp, or beaked nose. The complexion runs to extremes such as snow white skin, red lips, black hair. The type resembles an eagle. The women of this type are icily beautiful and very seductive. Look for red or black clothing, spiked heels, long red nails. The eyes of this type are keen and cool of expression and project an intensity rarely found in other signs. Facial type 2 has the crude, thick, and heavy features. Scorpio noses are large or noticeable in some way. a broken cleft, or blunted. The lips of this type are thick and heavy and red and sometimes unpleasantly formed. Scorpios of this type usually have beetle brows, she puts that in quotes, or give the appearance of peering out from under or behind something. The facial expression is deadpan and the mood is hard to read. The head is square, the face is full, and the body is thick and paunchy. This is one of the zodiac's physically strongest and most resilient types. Don't want to mess with a Scorpio. So yeah, hairy moles and scars, dense bones, very strong, deep voice, a steely gaze. Eyebrows are joined or V-shaped. All right, Scorpio. Sagittarius. And of course, she drew these characters a little bit exaggerated. But I've definitely seen people that meet one type or the other. So Sagittarius type 1, this is the primary type. She calls this the horsey type. They possess a medium to tall body with long limbs. Some types are muscular and athletic in appearance, whereas others have a lanky, loose-jointed, and gangly look. The Sagittarius type has very long legs, strong thighs and buttocks, and is narrow-hipped when viewed frontally. When viewed from side to side, the buttocks are full and protruding. Typical Sagittarius heads are long and narrow. The hair is straight, free-flowing, and brown. The nose is long and straight, and the mouth very broad with large teeth. Sagittarian eyes are large and alert, possessing a strong, fiery quality. The neck is long and slender, and the overall appearance is horsey. The legs are often beautifully formed, though sometimes quite slender, especially at the calf and the ankle. And then, of course, the second type is the type that goes into excess, which is the Jupiterian type. So more robust, more round-faced, more twinkle in the eyes. And then we go on to Capricorn, which also has two distinct body types. And the type 1 is the Saturnian type, and the type 2 is the earthly type. So the Saturnian types are often exceptionally beautiful examples of the chiseled type of energy. Both genders dress tastefully and possess an air of cool dignity. And in this book, if you go to Saturn, it's on page 137. I'm just reading that right now in front of me. Type 2, the earthy Capricorn, the head is large and distinctly round and hard, possessing firm jaws. Facial features are petite and well-formed. The mouth is small and tight, and the lips are hardly evident. The face may appear somewhat flat in profile, and the eyes are small and deep-set. The torso is large and tank-like, with an abundance of either hard fat or muscle covered with a layer of hard fat. The upper arms are noticeably thick, although the shoulders are not wide and may incline to slope. Physical motion is slow and steady, and the type is unflappable in danger. A large belly often protrudes below. Hands and feet are large, thick-set, and heavy. This type bears a lot in common with its opposite sun sign, Cancer, like the full moon in Cancer type. However, type 2 Capricornian is larger, stronger, and firmer of flesh than the full moon Cancerian, and the biceps, hands, and feet are much meatier than those found among the Cancerians. This type produces the well-loved patriarch or matriarch and makes excellent politicians, police officers, business persons, grocers, heavyweight boxers, and bakers. I just love some of these descriptions. So there you have that. It's Capricorn. 2 more to go. Here we have the Aquarius type. This is my husband. He has Aquarius rising. So this is expressed physically as the tallest of the zodiac types. Their appearance tends to be androgynous in manner and appearance, especially in females, yet unaffected. Aquarian types frequently are underdeveloped in the upper body with good muscular development in the lower body. The limbs are long and lanky, and the ankles noticeable in some way. They call them piano legs. Varicose veins or very elongated shins and ankles are common. The neck is long, and the large head may seem to float, similar to a balloon on a string. Some astrologers report that the Aquarian type is prone to buck teeth or overbites. All Aquarian types tend to have very high foreheads. Aquarian hair is softly waving, lovely, unmanageable, and of an extremely fine texture. Aquarius is one of the fairest of signs relative to the individual's gene pool. Many Aquarians show the perfect posture of their fellow Saturnians of the Saturnians, the Capricorn types. However, in the Aquarian, the body often seems mismatched and the posture and gait appear awkward. This, of course, is not true in every case. Saturn-influenced Aquarians stand conspicuously tall and straight. And there seems to be 3 distinct facial Aquarian types. Perhaps this is true to the decanate influence, the 3 different sections of it. So they'll have a Venusian Aquarian look where it's more of a wide set face and startlingly blue eyes. The Saturnian Aquarian is going to look more like an Abraham Lincoln with the really sharp and chiseled features. And the Mercurial Aquarian is going to have a beautiful classic profile that is refined and clean cut with lovely, though sometimes sad countenance. So that is Aquarian. And then here we have Pisces. So Pisces is the last one. And there, again, 3 different types for Pisces. The classic Piscean closely resembles a fish, possessing very large bulging or protruding eyes, large loose lips, weak facial bones, and a lopped forehead and chin. The head and body are round and usually plump. This is one of the zodiac's shortest and roundest types, and also one of its sweetest. Their eyes merrily twinkle with sympathy and love, although facial features may appear too large, or somehow rubbery, elastic, or ill-defined. The nose is soft and may have characteristically Piscean clown lips. The type 1 Piscean prefers loose, casual dress, and everything seems to be either falling apart around them or falling off of them. Posture is notably poor, stoop-shouldered or slouched, and hair is worn loosely and untidy. As Pisces corresponds to the feet, their feet and footgear are notable in some way. In fact, both Piscean types seem to hate to have their feet enclosed. The voice is sad, weak, or whiny, and usually of a higher tone. Now, type 2 brings old illustrations of fairy folk and elves. So this is the type 2 right here. And they are more slender, small, pretty, petite. They have a mercurial energy about them. The nose is small and indefinite or upturned, and the mouth is either fine-lipped or of the rosebud type. They're typically quizzical or seductive, like a Mona Lisa smile. The complexion will run medium to fair. And then the third type is seen mostly in males, but not exclusively, and it's more reminiscent of the sign of Scorpio, though far more diffuse, poetic, and delicate. The face is sad, the mood is melancholic, but good-natured. These folks are deep. Their eyes are gentle, and general manner is profoundly brooding or depressed. Sometimes their effect is flat, although when moved, the face is elastic and surprisingly expressive. Nobody makes stranger faces better than Pisces. Let's see what else. They may shuffle along, stoop-shouldered, hands hanging loose, or conversely, if devoted, like to yoga, with great flexibility and perfect posture. So that is that. Let me just read some of the planetary types too, because she did refer to these before speaking about them. See if there's anything else. I'll quit sharing because the next part's the activation. So I'll read you the planetary types and then we'll get into that. Hopefully you guys are still here with me. This is not a long activation. The whole thing was an activation for you to basically connect with your body type and what the undercurrents that are moving through you, connecting the two so that you can bring through your true self. All right, so this is the sun type. It's very similar to the Leo type. And they basically say that the sun rules the heart through its sign of Leo, and it's an Apollonian or solar type of medium height with sharply graceful physique. The solar type's description best matches that of the heroic statues of ancient Greece. True solar types are rare. When near the ascendant at birth, the sun's position seems to physically emphasize the zodiac type of the sun or even the sun's opposite. Solar types are harmoniously proportioned, possessing a strong and vital countenance. The chest is full and muscular, and the shoulders are broad and the back and upper arms are muscular. The solar head is large, muscular, and round. The facial structure, the cheeks are very rosy, very firm with no visible hollows. The eyes are large and almond-shaped and slant upward in the feline manner. The nose is straight, finely made, with characteristically leonine, flaring nostrils. The mouth possesses a graceful outline, inclined to fullness, with a curl or sneer like Elvis Presley. The voice is sonorous and booming, and the skin is fleshed about the cheeks. With age, the solar types develop deep and sweeping fields of the skin from the nose to the flanges. The hair resembles a sunburst or lion's mane and may tend to be red or blonde colorated. The hands will be large with a strong thumb. Yeah. Okay. And then the moon is going to be soft and round. The shoulders are distinctly narrow and sloping. The stomach and hips protrude. The overall body type is round. Yeah, so basically like the Cancerian types. So whatever planet rules the sign, that's basically what the body type looks like. So yeah, this is a cool book. And then like I said, at the end of it, she gets into some of the outer planets and what those might mean. Because like I said, she's done 5,000 astrophysiognomy cases. And so she has a pretty good idea of what people look like. She talks about karma. She puts some examples of people, which are all tropical. So I usually ignore those. But in the back here is this paper on redheads and Mars. And so this is a fantastic paper. So highly recommend you guys get this book so you can read that. But yeah, those are the body types. So I hope that was interesting for you guys. So what body type do y'all think you have? Or what do you guys think I have? I feel like after reading that, I'm probably more of a Gemini with the way that they're describing things. Because I got this high forehead here. I have a lot of energy. I'm always thinking and talking and moving and using my hands. So probably Gemini. Probably a lot of air and earth energy. I should show you guys my picture from when I was 30 pounds heavier, so you could see more of my Cancerian body type. But maybe I'll show you guys some other time. But yeah, I definitely have lost a lot of weight in the last few years and have kept it off. So what do you guys say? Are you all ready for this activation? If you're joining late or if you watch this later, the timestamp will be below so you can go down and check it out, or if you can't stay for it. But I just wanted to get it recorded. These types of technologies, they work through time and space, so it doesn't really matter when you do it or when you listen to it. It's working right now. It's already been working because we've done it in the future, and we're about to make it the now moment. So what I'll do is I just want to give you guys a couple of like quick updates into my world, and then I'll read that, and then we'll say goodbye because I'll just close the video with the reflection, or with the activation. So tomorrow night, Stellar Foundations, we're going to meet at 6 p.m. for our 4th office hours. This is literally the class that's going to launch you from just sort of learning it to doing it. This will be the class that takes you to that space. So I'm excited to share the information with you. We're going to do transits and predictions, and that's really where it's at with astrology. So we're doing that tomorrow night. I am setting up a bunch of podcasts for us. Very excited. I've gotten 3 yeses so far. Nikki and Abby from Abby's channel, Babylonian Astrology, ISAA, they are going to be coming on, I want to say the first or second week in September. Logan of Decode Your Reality will be making another appearance with us as well in about a month. I'm working on Chief Ironbush. I am working on the Healing Quantum Planet folks. They have agreed to, but we haven't set a date. So a lot of interesting people are going to be coming to the channel to fill out my Pulling Back the Curtain series of modern magicians. So I'm excited to share that with you all in the coming months. I think those are the biggest things. Yeah, that's it. So if you need a reading, my links are below. If you want to take a class, my links are below. If you want to join the fellowship, that's also below. If you want to join the channel membership, join our monthly Zoom calls for the lunar cycles, the link for that is also below. All right, let's do this activation. I usually record these. I rarely do these live, so I wanted to make sure I had my notes with me. but I'm not going to use that. Let me unplug that real quick. There's a tablet sitting here. Hang on. There we go. Okay. All right. All right. This song was actually inspired by a song by Creed. I don't know if you guys know who that band is, but it's called "Take Me Higher." And I don't know if you guys do this, but whenever I have a breakthrough or I just really need to like clear my head, I will play one song over and over and over and over and over. And the words to this song just really, really resonated with me. There's this undercurrent here that's changing for me. It's like the tides underneath are shifting, and there's a new version that's coming to the surface. Like my astrology, it screams it. The way I'm feeling, it screams it. And I'm in that space where I'm about to cross that threshold, kind of at the end, and I'm just ready to be there. And so sometimes it can be really, really frustrating. So I'll play that song and it'll make me feel better. So the whole idea is that when you hear these words, whatever is moving underneath of you, whatever it is that you're desiring in your life to change for you, whatever it is that you're wanting to become, these words are going to activate that for you. It's going to speak into existence that which has not been spoken yet for you. So now that you know your astrological body type, now that you know that the stars above you influence you and that you can resonate with the stars in ways that will help you, that are more soul aligned, and you've seen the code, hopefully this will resonate with you. So you can either close your eyes, or you can soften your gaze, or you can look at your feet, but just get comfortable and just breathe. You can put your hands on your lap, you can put your hands on your heart, whatever it is that you need to just sort of go inward and connect with yourself. Okay. Just take a moment for yourself. This is like a little spa moment for your soul, because we're all taking our combined collective energy and doing this together. So just take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, just let yourself arrive in whatever space you're in. Not in the place you stand, but in the place your soul knows is real. There is a hunger inside of you, not for more answers, not for more effort, but for a different dimension of being. And I want you to let yourself feel into that longing. Just feel into that right now. What is it that you want? What is it that you desire? What do you want to see in the world, in yourself, in your environment? Not because you want to leave behind what's here or escape, but you want to return to what's truly you, to what's truly resonating with who you are and what you want to become. And so you're going to rise beyond what has been dulled, what has been unseen, what has been veiled, and you're going to remember what it is that you came here to build. So you can either say this with me, or you can say it silently to your field, but know that these words that are being spoken right now are giving voice to that which has not been spoken yet. I am ready to rise. I am willing to see what others cannot. I am the bridge between the unseen and the becoming. I let go of the fear that keeps me small. I release the comfort that has become a cage. I welcome the vision that calls me forward. I do not run from the world. I meet it from a higher place. I hold the earth in one hand and my dream in the other. And now I ask the sacred question: am I willing to trust the vision only Spirit can reveal? Am I prepared to build from what others have not yet seen? If the answer is yes, then breathe it in. Feel it rise in your spine. Feel the dream settle into your bones, not as a fantasy, but as truth made form. You are not asking permission anymore. You are answering the call. So be seen, be heard, be in the light. And so it is. Thank you so much, my friends. I will leave you with that. I will leave you with an inspiring set of memes and fun music to get you through the rest of your day. And I will see you all later this week. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I love you so much.